And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Nojo. I know him as Hooligans. I don't know. It depends on the dialect, but I know Hooligans as one of my patrons, and he is from Team Skunk the Sith. And by the way, I wanted to give a quick shout out to this Team Skunk the Sith. Really awesome. They just got through their first heroic AAT. They did it as a team. Congratulations. Pretty awesome. And so when he signed up, when Hooligans signed up for my patron roster review a couple of months ago, they had not done the heroic AAT. So he was talking about heroic AAT teams, and he now has kind of got an idea of who he's going to use. And I'm just going to go over those and kind of review. It's basically just confirmation of what he's already decided to use, and that yes, he's doing well. Also, we're going to talk just a minute about ships and about investing, and as far as, you know, how to develop their ships team and stuff like that. So really, it's just heroic AAT and ships. This should go pretty quick. As far as your arena team's looking really well. I mean, you're almost in the top 100 on both ships and arena, and so you've got that. The only thing I noticed in your main lineup is you don't have a tank here, so my only suggestion would be to probably try and get a tank into this arena squad, so that way you can kind of protect your dudes and make sure that they survive long enough. And when R2D2 spins, he's going to want to have a tank to put obviously that foresight on and everybody else into stealth, keeping them alive. Now, Hooligans is a dolphin. He's been playing for over a year. A dolphin meaning that he has spent a little bit of money here and a little bit of money there, but no like consistent monthly investment or anything like that. And the heroic AAT teams that he wants me to kind of confirm or talk about is the first is going to be Phase 1. He's talking about it like a swgoh press, kind of like people did with Kylo Ren, where you can do a solo. It takes forever, but you can do that. And he's got all the time in the world for this. So this is not a bad idea. This is one of those characters you can just go in, do a lot, retreat, go in, do a lot, retreat. But a team that you could focus on and work on to try and replace this, that's a little bit faster, a little bit easier, a little bit better, would be the Han Solo CLS combo. And so you already have your Commander Luke Skywalker like gear 12, like boo-bah, pretty awesome. So that is good, but you don't have your Han Solo. He's not ready. He's only at 6 stars. He doesn't have very good mods yet on him, and you don't have his Omega, or Zeta, I apologize. But his Zeta is very, very worthwhile. Also, Han Solo in your arena team would be killer. So I would really recommend this be your very next Zeta. It's going to really help in arena. It's going to also help in heroic AAT. And you're at 6 stars. That means you guys are getting close to being able to get your 7th star on Han Solo. So Han Solo and CLS in Phase 1 of the heroic AAT, and between all the turn meter reduction they do and the damage they do and buff immunity that CLS brings, you can just keep going ham on General Grievous. It's pretty awesome. So definitely I would replace Savage at some point with Han Solo and CLS. Let's move into Phase 2. You first initially said that you were going to be doing clones potentially in Phase 2, and so I see you've got them all 7 stars, so now they can participate, and you've got them, about 50% of the way there as far as your modding. And when I said modding, I mean gearing. You got him about 50% of the way done gearing. You're going to have to mod them up, of course. You do have his leadership ability done, but mods make all the difference in the world as far as the gear as well. That makes all the difference in the world. Gearing and mods are super important. Really, Cody and his leadership ability is the one that you're going to want really, really fast. So make Cody as fast as possible. And this would be a really good team for Phase 2 or Phase 4. You also mentioned you wanted to work on resistance, like that's in your line of sight. And as a dolphin, you can kind of take a team and chunk it out a little bit faster than free to play, because you can kind of, buy little crystals here or there to kind of boost a couple characters up. And so this is the team I would recommend. Actually, I would recommend developing this one first over every other team that you're considering. Obviously, Han Solo and then resistance, but the other teams that you're talking about leveling up, great, not a problem. Definitely with clones, they're good, but resistance is better. I would finish off Resistance Trooper. I know he only has 2 hard nodes, so it makes it a little bit difficult to get him to 7 stars, but keep working him. Of course, Finn, Poe, Resistance Pilot, and Trooper, and R2-D2, as well as BB-8. Now, you won't be able to use BB-8s until you get them to 7 stars, so you're going to have to finish off the characters that get BB-8 to 7 stars for you to use him. But even without him, there were many people that were doing 7 to 10 million in the raids with the Resistance team, and Resistance don't need BB-8 when they're running through Galactic War either. So, with that said, Resistance should be your #1 priority, and you could very easily get a very large and very healthy amount of damage in Phase 2 by using the Resistance team. For Phase 3, you mentioned you were going to use Tebow, and you've got him. You almost have Chief Chirpa up. You could use either one of those once they're 7 stars. Chief Chirpa doesn't really have to be geared once he's 7 stars, but Tebow, as a lead, you definitely want to gear him up a little bit more. He is there really to put people into stealth so they're not countering, but you definitely want to gear him up because he's going to take damage, and he's not going to last very long. The leadership ability that he uses with the stealth in and out will, persist even after death, and Chief Chirpa's as well. But Chief Chirpa just brings more turn meter, which makes the team faster, which in turn helps you do more damage. So you could use Tebow for now, but eventually when you get Chief Chirpa to 7 stars, you could plug him in. Of course, with that, you would be using your Emperor Palpatine as your primary damage dealer. Of course, in this lineup too, you could use your Grand Admiral Thrawn and Royal Guard. Side note, Grand Admiral Thrawn, 7 stars, congratulations, awesome. Make sure that you continue to gear him up. He should be in your favorites, and he should be somebody that you're continuing to develop as well. Make sure you get him up. And the last you could use in this team, it would be Stormtrooper Han, and of course you got him to gear 11, so that would be excellent. He's a good tank for Phase 3, and this was the team you were kind of talking about knocking out for Phase 3, and so that would work. And then for Phase 4, you already mentioned that you might use your clones in Phase 2 or Phase 4, and they're already kind of a ways off anyway, but your Rebels are not. So Phase 4, I would definitely use your Rebels now until you use Commander Luke for Phase 1. While you're still using Savage in Phase 1, I would go ahead and I would use Commander Luke in Phase 4. You got a lot of Rebels to choose from in Phase 4. You could even make a couple of Rebel teams in Phase 4 to really get a couple of teams going in and doing mad damage. Princess Leia is awesome for any team because she's going to be able to put the crit chance up to make sure that they don't die from the bombardment, the aerial bombardment. And of course, if you are not ready yet with your Resistance team or clones, you could use your R2-D2 and Princess Leia in your Rebels team. Of course, Ezra is going to be a massive damage dealer, calling in assists. Lando works really well, being able to topple the tank. You just got to get as much crit chance and crit damage on him as possible. Captain Han Solo is actually a surprising MVP who's brand new. You have him 7 stars. A lot of people that don't even know him or know how to use him, but he can put daze down, which is really good for those droids, the B2 battle droids on the side. He can daze them off so they're not countering and getting that bonus turn meter, but he also brings back health and protection and dispels all the debuffs on your allies. He can pick an ally, cleanse them, cleanse himself, and give health and protection back. So a really great MVP for a support character in Phase 5, so you can really focus on doing 4 damage dealers with him. You could use Commander Luke, R2-D2, Princess Leia, Ezra, and Captain Han Solo, or some variant of that. Also, Han Solo, that's 6 stars on the bottom right. Obviously, you want to get him up for Arena, but you'll also want to get him up to 7 stars and geared up and leveled up and Zeta, because he is a total MVP, not only in Phase 1 with CLS, but you can also use him in Phase 4 with a Rebel squad, and you can actually get more damage in Phase 4 than you can in Phase 1, so you might find abandoning Phase 1 or just leaving Savage in Phase 1 and bringing in Han Solo and CLS into the Phase 4, just so you can get twice as much damage output from these characters out of that phase, because Phase 1 only has about 4 million damage potential. So anyway, something to think about. Obviously, the teams you were thinking of, Savage and Clones or Resistance and the Tebow team and Rebels, those are all great teams that you've been kicking around, and I would just reinforce that I think that that's excellent. And of course, for Arena, like I said, I would be throwing in a tank kind of protecting these guys here. But for ships, you're not doing too bad at all. Definitely with ships, you're going to want to invest a little bit more. You said you haven't put a lot of time into your ships. A little bit, you've kind of done it on the side, but you definitely want to develop the teams. You want to kind of split your loyalty from Arena to Ships Arena. Make sure you're working on both ships and characters. Remember that your ships are only as good as their pilot. If your pilot sucks and is low gear and everything, your ship's going going to, you know, hit like a turd and, you know, die quickly and all of that. You need your guy developed, the pilot developed as good as possible. And as far as ships go, right off the bat, I would probably be using Executrix or Executrix with Grand Moff Tarkin. You're going to have to continue to develop Grand Moff Tarkin himself. That's going to make the Executrix even faster by having Grand Moff Tarkin higher gear level, and make sure, just go through all of these and make sure that all the characters have 5-dot mods. Even if you don't use Grand Moff Tarkin anywhere in the game other than ships, make sure he has, you know, 6 5-dot mods on him. Even if they're junk 5-dot mods, make sure he has 5-dot mods. That way he gets the max bonus benefit. It also is going to help you with territory battles because it's going to raise your galactic power. So this is important on all of your characters. You should go into all your ships and all your characters and ships, and if there's any character in there that doesn't have a 5-dot mod on them, even if you're not using them, toss 5-dot mods, even if they're white 5-dot mods, and then just level them up to level 15 so you get that benefit. Huge galactic power increase. You'll find that all your ships are faster because of it, because the mods are going to increase their overall galactic power, which increases their overall speed and health. So this is a huge, easy, quick boost in ships that you can do. But with this Executrix, I would use the Umbaran Starfighter, who's in your top right, and I would also use Biggs. You've got Biggs right in the second or third row. And of course, those two are tanks. One taunts, one does not. And then, of course, you're going to want to use them with your TIE Advanced and the Imperial TIE Fighter. And Bistan, of course, Bistan's ship, the Bistan U-Wing, is a phenomenal ship. It will go into stealth, really hard to kill, has a guaranteed target lock. It also gives turn meter to your team, speeding your team up. This is a phenomenal ship for a target lock team. And then, of course, in the backup, you can use, now this is where you're going to go, man, I wish I wouldn't have neglected it, the Scimitar, and then Slave 1, and then Wedge. You can bring him in, but Scimitar is down here, at 3 stars. Your Darth Maul is at only gear 6. This is just really kind of sad, and so yeah, looking at Scimitar makes me want to cry. So you definitely want to make Scimitar your #1 ship priority, and also Grand Moff Tarkin is a character you're going to want to kind of gear up and put some mods on. Again, even if you don't use Grand Moff Tarkin, all your pilots are important. So Darth Maul's going to have to become important, and all those other ships that I suggested, you know, put the ships in your favorites and start farming them up to 7 stars, and then any of the pilots, put them in your favorites and start farming them up just to try and get their, you know, mods to 5-star, get their abilities maxed out. And even their abilities, even if you're not using like a special ability, raise it up to 7. It's going to make the character faster. Look at your before ship speed, and then after you mod them and in the ship speed, you'll see these increases with their galactic power that increase their health and speed. Pretty awesome. And then you'll be able to get in there and be more competitive with ships, and that's important because obviously you're doing well with ships, but the higher you go in ships, the better you're going to do, the more you're going to get currency wise. And then if you do eventually get up into the top 20, you're going to be able to rotate in and get some crystals as well. So that would be good. But all in all, as a Dolphin, for a little bit of over 1 year development, you're doing pretty good. You're flirting with that top 100. You got a good head on your shoulders as far as what teams for the heroic AAT you should be focused on. And as far as ships goes, hopefully the ideas I've given you on those ships will help. Take it home with a grain of salt. But if anyone has any comments for Nojo from Team Skunk, the Sith, make sure you leave them in the comments down below. As always, keep your gaming on. Warrior out.